you ever submitted your claim with a ton of evidence and thought to yourself, man, this one's going to be a winner, only to be denied a couple months later? Well, we're going to talk about that in today's video and what you can do to fix it with some education. But first, let me introduce myself. My name is Mark. I'm a disabled veteran. Like many of you who are watching this, it took me 7 years to get everything I deserve, my VA disability claim, and I lost over $100,000 in unrealized benefits. I'm sure that resonates with many of you, and I made a lot of mistakes so that you don't have to. And I have two goals on this channel. The first goal is that this content, I hope that you can win your claim for free, or at least walk with some hope in the future with some more education as you continue to make your attempts. The second goal I have is, if you can't win your claim for free through the education, I do run a consultation company that helps VA veterans win their VA disability claims through education and strategies. But I hope this video helps you and you get a lot from it, so let's get into it. So, like I mentioned, a lot of veterans will submit a ton of evidence with their claim, thinking that I'm good to go. But when you submit a claim with the VA, what you have to realize is that you're entering into this process. I call it the weighted process, and this is not official. Something I picked up along the way through just a bunch of other people that I followed as I was learning my own claims, and just what I saw through my decision letters and just intuition. So imagine that when you submit your claim, you're stepping onto a apothecary scale, not the type of scale, you're trying to lose weight, you step on the scale and there's a number. I'm talking about one of those old school scales where on one end there's a plate, on the other end there's a plate, and if you want to make a trade, for example, the gold on one end has to weigh the same as the thing you're trying to purchase, and then it's a fair trade if it's even. But in this case, the VA is trying to figure out whose truth is heavier. So the more heavy plate wins. And when you start a claim, guess what? The VA's plate is always heavier than your plate. So you're going to be denied if you don't submit any impactful records, evidence, story, whatever, that will make your side of the claim heavier. So that's what I'm here to talk to you about. Because a lot of vets, myself included, I made this mistake where I just submitted all 1,000 pages and I kicked my feet up on the table thinking, oh, the VA is going to take care of me. But as you all know, that's not what happens. Many times the VA will miss things, and submitting a bunch of stuff is actually not that helpful. It's usually better to find the stuff that is the most impactful to your claim and submit that. Well, you're thinking 1,000 pages seems pretty damn heavy, so why doesn't it do anything on those scales? Well, consider it this way. If you're going for a claim, let's say for sleep apnea, and you've submitted 1,000 pages and 800 of those pages are for your lower back, 200 are for your knees, 100 is for your headaches. The numbers don't even match anymore, but you get what I'm trying to say. There's nothing about the condition you claimed in that 1,000 or so stacked papers that you submitted, and the effective worth of that 1,000 pages is zero, literally zero on the scale in terms of weight, because it's not relevant to your claim. So that's how you got to see it. Whereas, okay, if you're going for sleep apnea and you have a photo of a CPAP machine, you and the CPAP machine in service, you're using it. I don't know why you would have that, but that'd be kind of funny. But let's say that you have the prescription and the box that it came with and you are holding it. Well, that's maybe 3 pieces of evidence, but in your claim, that's super heavy. That's a hell of a lot heavier than the 1,000 pages that mean nothing. So less is literally more when you have impactful evidence. And so when you're looking at the scales, that's how you have to see it. It's the stuff that matters you want to submit with your claim. Use common sense, do the work in advance, because that's, again, the red pill of VA disability. The VA cannot give you the service you deserve. It can only give you the service it can afford. And as you can see, many vets get denied. That's one of the reasons why you have to do the work. Keep in mind, depending on the claim that you're going for, evidence that's really heavy in one claim might not be heavy in another. For example, let's say you're already rated for sleep apnea, just continuing down that sleep apnea train. Say you're 10% for sleep apnea and you submit a bunch of active duty medical records for sleep apnea, you're going for an increase. Well, your active duty medical records they're basically weigh nothing, because you're trying to say that I'm 50% because of a CPAP machine. Maybe there's nothing in your active duty medical evidence that talks about a CPAP machine. Well, if you submit a bunch of evidence that doesn't talk about a CPAP, you're just not going to get the 50% because the evidence just isn't there. So what's really heavy in an increase for sleep apnea is current evidence or evidence in the past that you have a CPAP. That's what matters. That's what's heavy. Your active duty records are no longer heavy, so you got to see it that way. Or maybe you're going for, I don't know, you're going for migraines, headaches, whatever, secondary to the medication you're taking for your mental health or some other body part that you have a problem with from service. That's service connected. Well, you're going to want to submit evidence with your claim that is relevant to what you're trying to prove. You don't want to just submit a bunch of stuff that the VA has to sift through and will not find what you want them to find. You have to be very strategic with how you submit evidence and records with your claim. So that's really it. Use common sense and figure that out. Now, that's not the whole story, because you still got to sift things out, make sure they're labeled correctly, chronological order. How does all this evidence come together in a personal statement? There's all kinds of things that you still have to do. But the first step is just sifting through the evidence yourself, only submitting what's impactful. Last thing I want to talk about here is when you're on that scale, if you're even with the VA, you have enough evidence to where your truth is just as heavy as the VA's truth, they're supposed to give that to you as a win. But they don't always. I will say that you become eligible to win that claim. That's what's going on. Will they give it to you? Who knows? But if you are close, you want to submit as much impactful evidence as you can, because even if you're a little bit heavier than the VA, they're supposed to give it to you, and that I have seen. So, it's a matter of doing your own quality control, doing your own work, and figuring out what actually is smart to put in your claim, because less is actually more. 20 pages of impactful evidence versus 2,000 pages of stuff that doesn't matter. All you've done is made the VA representative who's going through your claim tired. So take that for what it's worth. I think that's what's going on. There's a scale system. You need to be at least as heavy or heavier than the VA's truth in order to win your claim. And that's one of the key things to getting what you deserve is not just submitting everything and wanting them to sift through it all, but actually helping them to see what matters. Now, I've beat that dead horse many times over this video, so I'm going to stop there and say, if you found this helpful, please tell your friends about the video, like and subscribe. Please leave a comment. I want to know what you're all thinking. There's about 50 or 60 of you now. Thank you for my small community base. Hopefully when we grow, I get to know the people who are here first. And so please leave a comment, because I want to get to know you. Maybe do a live Ask Me Anything type of event. But if you have friends, tell them about the channel. And if all this stuff is super confusing and you need someone to help you out, well, set up a call with us. We want to help you. But with that, take care, and I'll see you all in the next video.